What's good, anime enthusiasts? Welcome to our episode review for Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Recreation, not recreation, not reincarnation, Isekai. Man, we're doing great so far. Anyway, this is so instead of doing what we usually do here on this channel is like reviewing the new season, we decided to, take a look back at something relatively old in a sense and see what's so popular about all of these like past anime. For the beginning of this channel, we did Lock Horizon, and then we did Genosha with my partner JD. And this time around, we're going back because after watching Sentence to Be a Hero, we see some comments talking about Mushoku Tensei and how the art style is similar in some regards and something about plot. So it was like, okay, you know what? Let's take a look back at one of these so-called great anime and see what's so special about it. Now, let's get a little housekeeping out of the way. Hi, my name is Isoran. I love anime, I love video games, I love conventions. That's what I try to do here on the channel. We have all three of these pillars. We have anime reviews, we have gameplay, and we have anime conventions. And who you see over to my side here is my co-host, my partner who started with me on Lock Horizon, JD. Say what's up to the people.
Hey y'all, I'm JD. I'm a big novel fan. I love themes, I love movies, and more than anything, I like deconstructing anime tropes. Good to meet you all.
Indeed. Both of us have very astute opinions and critical analysis on anime. We continuously butt heads to this day about Attack on Titan. He's on the side of liking it. I am on the side of disliking. I believe I'm still winning, but that's not the point. The point is that we come at anime through a critical lens. Not so much as like a trash it or tarnish it, but try to understand the inner workings of it, trying to get into the mind of the writers, see what themes, tropes, and ideas they're trying to present in this medium. It is subjective, yes, but sometimes objectively, it can be really good, and see what's new they're trying to do or how they're trying to twist things into a different light to make things really amazing. And this is what we have for this particular anime, Mushoku Tensei. It's a great anime. I hear a lot of praise about it. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's the best thing since sliced bread. It's got a bunch of award nominees. And like a lot of great anime, you kind of question, is it really that good? Is it really that amazing? And so here we are. Now, to really get into it. Oh, by the way, subscribe, like, all that good stuff, whatever. Now, to really get into it, JD, I want to ask you a very important question. Now, we have watched the first 3 episodes. We were going to do 2 originally, but something happened in the second episode that required JD to watch a third, and then I chased after him for it. So, JD, what is your first impression after watching the first 3 episodes of this anime?
I think the anime is very beautiful, right? It's very, very funny. You can tell it's supposed to be on the comedic side, but I swear that every 5 minutes that I am the guy who got hit by the truck instead of our main character. And it's like that over and over and over with some of the more blue tropes going on.
Get it? I understand, unfortunately. But as I was talking to this, I was talking about this. I was telling my D&D group yesterday about us like reviewing this anime and about what we watched in the first 3 episodes. And I hate to say this, but despite what we see in the anime, if this came out 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we would be totally fine with it. We would be okay with it because it just is what it is. If we ported this anime back to those times, it would be not just like the others. It would be one of those, oh wow, this is like more amazing than some of the, like a lot of those other ones. But at the same time, some of the toilet humor and sexual commentary that they have in here would fit perfectly back then, especially some of the quote-unquote now new taboo ideas that are presented here. This also came out in 2021, smack dab right in the middle of the witch hunt of all the lolicons and the pedophiles. So there is a little bit of, oh wow, this is something. Also at the same time, we are Westerners. We have a different opinion on the ideas presented here. It's a different culture. It's a different way of thinking and expressing things. Something that isn't so necessarily, I guess, to the degree, to like the, not standard, but more of the trash and the less tastefulness that we Westerners have of it than the Eastern culture. That's not defending it. We're not trying to defend it. It's those differing opinions and cultures that's really like shining a light onto this.
I personally feel like you're definitely right that this is humor for like a different era and definitely for a different culture than like where I'm from. And I think that being the only complaint that I have about the anime so far is actually a bigger boon to itself, right? Like you'll see a lot later that they sort of weave in like amazing moments with these like more comedic moments. And that's really the thing that's keeping me hanging on here.
Yeah. Speaking of, oh, by the way, my first impressions, despite what I see about everything, it's really good. Honestly, I'm very impressed of the world and what they're trying to set. And also, I really like the pace that they're setting for it, which goes in and ties to the first episode, Jobless Reincarnation. Now, previously, what we would do is that we would dissect this anime, like, not like line by line, but like do like a time of events as I say them, talk about them, maybe or maybe not. This time around, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to give you guys like an overview of what happened in the episode, so like to jog your memory on a few things. And then we'll dive into some of the more important things that have happened and which may play later to the other episodes, or some theories that we'll have. Because both of us, we have not seen a lick of anything. We may have probably seen like a meme or two, but we have no idea what's going on. Which is how all of this sexual themes is like a bat to the face, like immediately. So,
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
I feel like if I had like looked this up on my anime tags, I would have been a little bit more prepared. I think it's just the surprise factor that really gets you and how coarse the narrator is.
Oh, true. Yeah, because we didn't really look at the tags. Like if you look at the tags for Crunchyroll, it has 16 plus and it says violence, sexual nudity, sexual commentary, whatever, all that jazz. And you're like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. It's not a terror. You're gonna see some nudity. It is what it is. We'll probably talk about breast, whatnot. It's all fine. You look on the My Anime list, 17 plus, it has the ecchi tag. And once you see the ecchi tag, everything makes sense.
Exactly, man.
Anyway, first episode, what do we see? The part is we have the main character in his mid-30s, 33, 34. He gets into an accident. We don't really see the accident immediately, but he's being like rolled on the stretchers into the hospital. Unfortunately, he dies, but he is reincarnated into another world. But he starts as a baby, and when he opens his eyes, he sees his mother, and you see in the subtitles, it's a different language. You don't know you don't understand them. It's not Japanese. Make some comments about remember that he remembers everything from his other world. So he has the mind of a NEET. And so when he sees these things, he doesn't have to, but the writers make it known that he is that in his personality. So he does like his mother's big milkers, unfortunately. And he makes you know that in this moment, fortunately. But moving on from there, he is learning to be a child. Well, not learning to be a child. He's going through the motions of being a child. He's crawling, being introduced to the world through his parents. But he's very not aware that it's a magical world. He thinks he's in Europe or some other reason with this young couple. And lo and behold, when he sees his father swinging a sword and he falls off of a dresser / table and his mother uses healing magic, he like, oh, I'm in a sword and magic world, sword and sorcery world. I've been reincarnated. Cool. Time goes on. He gets into some books He gets his big magical book and that talks about magic, learns how to do magic from there. Eventually his parents hires a magical tutor in order for him to teach him magic, who is Roxy. And Roxy teaches him magic. They have a little dynamic going. And at the end of it, the main character thinks, okay, this is a new world. I can probably start over and try to live a serious life. That is episode 1. JD, I'm gonna leave it to you because I have a very few things I want to say. But what are some of the things you took away from episode 1?
Alright, so first, I really do like the dichotomy between our main character's sort of inner, more adult dialogue and his more like immature form, right? It really gets you into the mindset of somebody who is essentially new game plusing, and you can see it a lot at the beginning when he's just practicing magic on his own, like choosing to read. He's like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out by myself and like test the rules and bounds of the world, right? Typical isekai stuff, right? The other really fun thing that strikes me is his dynamic between his parents and himself, right? Wherein he's older than them technically, right? And he's a lot more mature than them, right? So he like sort of has to like really play up that childlike role to get in between there. But you notice there's like a lot of weird things about him, like him not crying when he falls off a table and things like that. He just sort of goes like, yeah, that happened. It's cool, right? It's a pretty cool start.
Yeah, his parents, they don't really question it. They're more of like, yeah, our child is like this, like that. It's okay. It's fine. For me, I like the magic system looks very basic on the surface, but I do like the idea that when he reads through the book to learn about the magic system, how magic works, and when he starts practicing magic and doing things, he sees conflicting issues. One, magic is supposed to be done through incantations and magic circles. Cool. He is also able to do magic by just thinking it, but without incantations, like regularly. Like he'll cast water ball either through incantations or he'll just do water ball innately. The book doesn't say anything about voiceless incantations, as they call it. And they also say that your mana is set at birth. Well, the more that he trains with magic, his mana gets better. He has a bigger mana pool. And the book doesn't tell you that. So either the book is really old and has old ideas, or the book is new, but some of those old ancient techniques that are really good is sort of lost or rewritten to let others who read it now not know about that. And there's probably a secret sect of mages or people that know about magic that can actually do really amazing things. Even though that's just like one small little detail that lets you know that this world is probably way bigger than it needs to. Honestly, there's a lot of things that happens in episode 1 that really gives you, there's a lot of interesting things that's going on. JD, I want to ask you about Lilia. What do you think about the maid?
That woman, I'm convinced she's like something special because the way she interplays between Zenith and I think his name is Paul.
Yes.
Paul Greyrat.
Mm-hmm.
Right. She's like their intermediary and also is the first person to sort of say anything about our main character's true nature, right? And this is early on when he's got the panties on his face, right? And she tries to bring it up, like, oh, your son might be afflicted by, and then we get our main character to look at him, and she just like gives up. She's like, oh, never mind, right? I'm convinced there's something about her.
Exactly. And the second time that she knows that she is the first to know that our main character, Rudy Rundas, also is learning magic. So she has a little bit of a history. Spoiler for a little bit later that I'm going to talk about. If you read the light novel, in between there is like a small section where it talks about Lilia and like where she comes over in her backstory. So I have a small bit of spoiler, but even before I like read that, I literally read that like 20 minutes ago before we started recording. But you can already tell Lilia has is like a very important character through just the way that they show that. Let's get the elephant out of the room. Why? No, not why. No, let's just say it. Why did they make that comment about Roxy?
Oh my god. This poor little demon girl, bro, immediately gets on screen. It's like, man, she's like so brusque and weird. I'm gonna marry her, bro.
Hold on, don't
I'm
forget.
like, okay.
Lolicon, abrasive eyes, the way she talks. I want to marry her. Slow down, soldier. Slow down.
Bro, forget the beard. She looks like she hasn't even grown bush yet. I'm like, just
Probably
ripping it.
probably middle schooler. What? No.
And it's like this. He just sends it all the time. And you'll like blatantly look at her panties and the wind blows and shit. It's like, damn, bro.
Oh God. Oh, okay. I could say that now that you mention it. So that moment is different from the light novel and the manga.
How so?
Okay, so when Rudy comes to step up and to do water ball in the anime, he's confident that he says like, okay, I just need to do the incantations. I shouldn't do the way I've been doing it without it. And so when he speaks, the wind sort of like blows around him as he like about to cast a very powerful water ball. He sees our undergarments. He stops midway through the incantations, and the water ball just goes ahead anyway, shoots forward. In both the light novel and, well, actually, the light novel and the manga differ. All three of them are different. So in the manga, he bites his tongue during the incantation and shoots it forward. In the light novel, he hasn't done water ball in such a long time, so he forgets how the incantation goes. And towards the middle of it, he says like, water ball, and it shoots forward. So why did the anime just want to be like, yeah, let's just throw in this fan service moment to make him shoot water ball forward already?
Bro, they're just standing on business. I get it, bro. They knew what they're here for, bro.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, I will say, I'm not gonna I'll probably look at the manga and the light novel for these like certain instances to see if the anime is really taking liberties, which you can tell that they are. But yeah, first episode, I think it's a good primer and it's a good litmus test to see if you can handle all of this. Well, actually, no. Next episode is the real litmus test to see if you can really handle all of this. All the jokes to try to do.
Like, if you're not getting past the first episode, you are not getting past the second episode.
Speaking of the second episode, episode 2, Master. Roxy scene in the hallway. That is the first thing that we see. After that, by the way, after that, we'll unfortunately get into that. But after the Roxy scene in the hallway in the intro, this episode is more about Roxy and Rudy. Roxy training Rudy to be a very powerful water mage. We also get to learn a little bit more about the world. We also get to learn more about the MC and his past life. He is a NEET, as we have said, and he was also kicked out of his apartment that day that he died. We also get to see how he died, in that while he's like, after he's kicked out of his apartment or place, he sees his girl getting like harassed by these two guys, and a guy in a truck is coming on a red light, and he's like wobbling in the road, and he does his one good act, his one good deed in order to save them. He dies. After we see that, now we get into like the actual training. We get to learn a little bit more. We learn that Roxy is a demon and not a human, and there's actually two types of demons. There's the magic demon that Roxy is, and there's also the other demons called the Suprets, who are dangerous demons, and they kind of earn their hatred from the other races after a past event called the Lapis War. And Roxy makes a mention that, hey, if you see anybody with emerald green hair and a red gem on their forehead, that's a Supret. Don't do anything, don't deal with them. Otherwise, you'll be outed with them as well. After that, we get to see more of training. MC's past also comes into light as well. We get to learn that he was bullied physically and mentally at school, which will come into play later. We get to learn a little bit more about the world again. There's a lot of exposition in this, not really much going on, but it's really trying to build up Rudy and Roxy. We also get up to the point to where now in episode 2, towards like the half and the later half, Rudy is 5 now, and they celebrate birthdays in 5-year increments, and you're an adult at the age of 15. And after that, he gets his presents. He gets a sword from his father, Paul, and I believe Rudy also gets he gets a wand from Roxy. I forget if his mother gets him anything, but after that, he now has to have a graduation exam from Roxy. However, Rudy is very adamant about going outside, and Roxy is able to help him cross that threshold, bring him outside. Big character development. They do the graduation exam, in which they cast this very nice looking, powerful saint level water magic. Rudy then passes him because he's successful. He becomes a saint level water mage, and after that, Roxy has nothing left to teach Rudy, so Roxy is going off on her own adventure elsewhere. Unfortunately, at the end, there is a rage bait, which rage baited Deji, where during the time that Roxy was there, somehow, in some way, Rudy stole a pair of underwear from Roxy, and that is his treasure.
And that flash cut just ends the episode for me. So I was like, what the fuck, man? I was so mad. I was in Soren's DMs asking him what the fuck he was making me watch. Because like at that point, it was just like too much for me. I was like, okay. Let me calm down.
Bro, I went back to you because you watched it beforehand. But when I saw the beginning of episode 2, I said, what are we watching?
No, shit. There was a slight scuffle in the DMs where I was claiming, bro, you chose this. You did this to us.
And then I blamed all of you who love this stuff for touting this up. But you never told anybody what happens in here.
Man, this thing has like 4.9 average stars. It's really up there. It's up there.
I can see why. Okay, let's just get this out of the way, man. Look, the beginning of episode 2. The anime did it. Between all 3 of the iterations of it, the manga is, I want to say, the most like light on it. It's just a panel of Roxy looking into the room. That's it. If you read the light novel, it says that she does like an inviting motion downstairs, but in the anime, you just full blown see it.
Bro, like she's just watching. She's just watching these two get it on. Oh my god.
Rudy's like, she's at their growing age. I was like, no, please stop. We don't need this.
For what purpose, game? I could at least excuse the beginning sequence legit being the main character beating his meat and missing his parents' like funeral or whatever, right? I could deal with that because at least he died 20 seconds afterwards. The Roxy scene, there's just no point, right?
Unfortunately, my friend, there is a foreshadowing element to there, because that is, I want to say, the second time that they've done it. They're doing it for the purpose, because Rudy, the main character, says and thinks about it. Yeah, my parents are getting it on. I hope that it's if they do, if I do get another sibling, I hope it's a little sister. This is foreshadowing 101, people. This is foreshadowing 101. I don't need to see anything else. I know for a fact we're getting a new character at some point, and it's going to be a sibling, and it's going to be his little sister. He is manifesting it.
I don't know. I think because he said that he didn't want to have little brothers anymore. So I can imagine them like fucking him over and making it so he has to be like an older brother again to a little brother.
True, but I also think that this new world is trying to be nice to him. So they'll give him a little sister. Also, it'll just really play into the fact of who he already is. And yeah, so moving on.
Oh my god, no, true. Oh my gosh.
Sword Art Online Season 2. There you go. Anyway.
Yo, why are we slandering my goat anime, bro? We cannot slander Sword Art Online like this. No, bruh.
Okay. If that's the case, uh, I'll throw out another anime. My little sister can't be this cute. There we go. That's another good comparison. Anyway.
No, bruh.
See, people, I know ball. You don't want me to know ball. Okay. Let's see. I'll start it off with some one things I see. One thing. Let's also get another Roxy thing out of the way. When the main character talks about Roxy saying her hair is cute, hair is pretty, and he says he likes her. Roxy, of course, at this point, already likes Rudy to the point of like he's like a good student. He's good, powerful. He's very attentive, and she does blush a little bit and it's like, say that to me in 10 years and see what happens. Romance unlocked. Roxy's coming back.
Roxy, what the fuck, girl? Okay.
Run.
Bro, 10 years. I think Rudy is 15, bro. How old is Roxy?
Don't we don't know Roxy's age. So if we think about it to where if Roxy's at the point to where she herself can cast saint level magic, she's not like doing that accelerated rate as Rudy. She's probably above the age of 15, or she has to be above the age of 15. God, this is weird. Anyway,
We're all trying to do the math. The great pawns.
the Renoa University of Magic. That's gonna be a good place that where we go to. I also want to say through this exposition, while we're learning about the world, they are dropping hints and foreshadowing of where we are going to go next somewhere once we get out of the village. The pacing in this anime I like it I like it because we're starting at a young age and we're not like speed blitzing through our ages to get to our adult years to where we can get into the action. We actually get to see more of the world through the childlike eyes. We get to see the world develop and grow with Rudy if there's like any events. Because if you think about it, in a time period of an isekai where you're a young guy or you're young and you get up to adult age, there's a lot of time in between where there's quote unquote peace, where there's not much that needs to go on, which gives you enough chance to understand the world as it is. Which is what we're doing right now. So I can't wait for us to go to the Renoa University of Magic where everybody can learn magic no matter what their race is. Probably not the Superites, but we'll see. And
oh yeah. I really love the special attention to detail that all the relationships get because I feel like in most isekai there's this upfront understanding of, oh, these will be your party members. This guy does X, this guy does Y. Your parents are your parents, and then we'll never see them or talk about like what they did for you ever after that, right? In this, you get a lot more like room to breathe, and you understand what everybody wants from each other in sort of that relationship dynamic.
like speaking on relationships, Rudy and Roxy, student and master, where Rudy says like, hey, I don't need anybody else to teach you. I don't need to go to university. I just need you, Roxy. You are my master. And then Roxy like smiles, but also at the same time, Roxy doesn't want to be called a master because through training Rudy, she realizes that Rudy is going to surpass her one day and that she is going to be weaker than him. So being called master when somebody's stronger than you now doesn't feel like a student teacher like role anymore. Now it feels like demeaning. And even after that conversation, when she goes inside the house to leave Rudy outside, she herself attempts to cast magic without incantation and she fails. And she feels meek and meager in that moment. Like even in that moment already, she is the weakest of between the both of them. And she has to accept that fact.
And like, I love that dynamic specifically, right? And this is sort of what I meant about like the anime weaving these amazing moments of like character development and like animation in between these like sort of joking like chorus moments, right? It's important to note that here he's just spouting words that he remembers from like his dating sims, right? Like he was saying all the words that would work perfectly on a character, right? But Roxy is like a human, and that feeling of being patronized sort of comes through perfectly here, right?
Speaking of, we can't leave off this episode without talking about MC's past. It's terrible. Is horrible that he was bullied physically and mentally. They pulled down his pants. They took pictures of him. They called him names. They literally put him through the ringer, seemingly every single day, up until the point to where he is traumatized to go outside of his house. He thinks that if he goes outside, he is going to be subjected to that. It is terrible to go outside, even to go past the gate. And that trauma is realized when, well, twice, where he see the kids, they're like playing everything. When they look at Rudy, he then immediately, his mind goes, those kids, they're going to pull out their phones in this new magical world and they're going to take pictures of him. They're going to call him names. And he gets very scared and like tries to make up excuses of why he doesn't want to go outside for his graduation exam. And he sees the outside of his house, that gate, which is not a wooden gate anymore. It's now this metal gate. It's barring him. He feels like there's evil on the other side. He feels like if he goes outside, he's going to be subjected. And when Roxy puts him on the horse and forces him to go through that threshold, he's like, oh no, things are going to happen. They're going to talk to me. And everything's fine. Nothing's happening. The air is crisp. The world is beautiful. When Roxy is saying hi to everyone, you see Rudy himself as those farmers and the villagers. They raise their hands, say hi. He shirks away. But all he hears is, how you doing, Roxy? Good morning. Thanks for this. Thanks for that. And then Rudy looks up. Wait, they're not looking at me. They're looking at her. And then when he gets more comfortable in like talking and saying hi and waving, he gets more relaxed. He gets more. He's like, wait, this is another world. They aren't going to look at me the same as what everyone else did in my original world. I don't have to be scared. I don't have to deal with those people. This is a new life. I can do this. I like that big, like, character development. He has crossed the threshold. And that makes Roxy an even more impressive character in that she helped him get over his trauma and fear. And at the end of it, he says, I respect this person. Cinema.
Yeah, no notes, right? And maybe this was always meant to be what Roxy was teaching Rudeus, just how to like be a human being again, right? And that's how they become a mentor. But they both focus so much on the magic that maybe that impact isn't clear to Roxy where it's clear to Rudeus, and Rudeus doesn't have the means to say it to Roxy, right? Which is really just to say, I really hope they can meet again, you know?
Me too. I joke about that romance. Well, not joke about it. I theorize it. I still hope that's on the table to where he goes back to it, or it may just be better to where you know Roxy was the first ever person in this world that actually helped me come over my fears. I should try to protect them in one way or another. I should repay them for what they did to me, even though they don't understand how much it helped me. Speaking of repaying other people, episode 3. A friend, a very interesting friend. So. Episode 3. This episode is more about a new character that we're introduced to, Sylph. And this episode really gets into the dynamic of Paul and Rudy. And what I think is probably going to happen later. And you might not like what I say about this, JD, but we'll see.
No, yeah, I'm scared. Like Soren said earlier, I was rage baited into watching this episode after the end of episode 2 gag about the panties again, right? I just needed to make sure this was worth the time. But let's get it started, Soren.
Yeah. So, like I said, this episode is more about the new character that we meet, our friend, which begins with Rudy stopping these 3 bullies ganging up on a person who is hooded up. And afterwards, when Rudy gets closer to look at them, it's who he thinks is a boy with green hair. And he's like, wait a minute, green hair? But do they have that red gem? No? Foo, safe. And I have to say this now. Specifically, he calls him handsome. And he's thinking about, oh, if I'm with him more, he'll probably bring the girls and I'll probably get some of the flack off of that. Cool. We learned that it's Sylph. Sylph has different parents, but Sylph's hair color is different. Why is that? Later on, we get to learn that Sylph isn't half elf. Cool. But however, his parents don't have it's a little bit weird. But eventually, when that event happens, when Rudy gets back home, his father Paul yells at him for what he did to Samal, one of the bullies. Samal has a black eye. And from what we see and what from Rudy did, like, no, he didn't give him a black eye. All he did was just cast a water ball. How did he get a black eye? So Rudy and Paul have an altercation where Paul's yelling at Rudy and Rudy doesn't say sorry. Rudy's adult self is trying to get one over on Paul to really talk him down and like put himself forward for what he's did. He's trying to defend himself. However, Paul hits him, and it's a dichotomy of Paul not giving Rudy a chance to defend himself and only listening to one side of the argument. And Rudy, his adult self, comes out for it, saying like, why are you not giving me, your son, who you ought to be trusting first, a chance to defend himself? And then he flips it on him, saying that, well, maybe when another person is being bullied by 3 other people, maybe I should be joining in and become the 4th person. You know, maybe that what should be known for, the gray rats, a family of bullies that jump on other people instead of defending them, like what you like told me before. A man's strength should be used to help and protect people. No, it should be used to demean others and put them down. And that, wow, I thought, whoa, hold on, you're really going too far. But instead, it actually puts Paul down. It really recenters Paul, being like, wait a minute, I am his father. I should be listening to him. Hey, Rudy, tell me what happened. While he didn't get a chance to apologize for it, he does have that moment. Also, when Paul is, talking over his actions and thinking over it, we do get the scene of where the mother of Samal is, coming up to Paul and apologizing. And I want to highlight this. If you look back at the scene, when Paul does his head bow to apologize, you see the mother look away and you see red blush on her face. Then later on, we realize through Rudy that's saying like, okay, the kids keep harassing and the mother keeps going back to Paul because of that. And he says, well, the mother is more interested into Paul than her kid. Excuses. We'll get back into it. We'll delve deeper into that later. But Rudy is with Sylph a little bit more. Sylph, he teaches Sylph how to do magic. He goes through the motions of what he's already did. Sylph also learns how to do magic without incantations. It's a cute scene. It's cool. It's now Rudy is a teacher, and now that he has a student, and he's like building this rapport with Sylph. And this is Sylph's first friend and his actual first friend. Cool dynamic. At some point when it rains, they go back to Rudy's house, and there is a very comical scene to where Rudy now understands, oh wait, Sylph is a girl. And from there, Paul and Rudy have a bonding one-on-one moment about girls' relationships advice. Rudy fumbles a little bit more with Sylph, but towards the end, they become really good friends. Just stay normal, act normal, we're cool. And that's the end of episode 3. But spinning back to Paul, he's gonna mess up. Paul is going to start the next issue. Paul is gonna do something terrible, and Rudy and Paul are gonna have a falling out because Paul made a comment saying that he also had trouble with his own father. And we all know how history likes to repeat itself. You see where I'm going with this, JD?
I sort of do, but I don't think I quite agree yet, right? I think, like we said before, Paul is very, very young, just like in general, and he's definitely very young as a father, right? In the scene where he's apologizing for Rudeus, and that one kid with the black eye, there's some undertext saying like, oh, I was almost relieved that my son had done something childish and that he wanted more opportunities to be a father to Rudeus, right? And I think that haze sort of affected a lot. I feel like this instance where Rudeus talks down on him will be sort of like a centering point for their relationship. And like him trying to make it up in the end by like sort of facilitating the what's the word for it? Not reunification. No, that's the word of Sylph and his very awkward, very socially inept child will sort of be like the thing that solidifies that bond even more. I am curious to what you think will happen though.
Oh, you know what I just realized? It's because of the fact that he is now actually talking to a girl of his own quote unquote age, that he's actually stumbling over his words. And he actually likes Sylph. So now he has to go through the motions. Oh, okay, wait, how do I talk to a girl? I don't know how to. And so that's his old past self now being intermingled with his now new self, appropriately for the age of I don't know how to talk to girls. Both at a young age now as an older guy. I only know how to do this through like games and like visual novels. How do I do this in real life? I think that's a cool thing.
No, that was hilarious, yeah. Just watching him. Even like before they knew Sylph was a girl, at the beginning of the episode, he was just setting up arcs of being like, this guy is probably like gonna have so many like girls talking to him. I might get a girl just by proxy if I'm his best friend. And I was like, okay, the dating strategy, let's go.
Speaking of, at what point did you realize Sylph was a girl?
Instantly, it's not even hidden, bro. The second you look at the cheekbones, it's just a lock, right? I think this is what happens in like every anime, is that they draw like the eyes a very specific way for women and not for men. And if you just look at their eyes, you can tell it's a woman, where Sylph is a woman.
Gotcha. Now, here's a pro tip for everyone else. If you want to try to spot the quote unquote traps, look and see how the animators and artists draw the characters. That's one. The second thing is what they're wearing. While it may not seem like so obvious that Sylph is wearing those like its big coat, it's another thing that Sylph is wearing very short shorts and shorts that are like very high up on their body. Thirdly, the way that they move and the way that they animate. When Rudy and Sylph were at the tree, Sylph never crossed their legs. They always kept them like close to each other, like how a girl would. And also, lastly, during the bath scene, if you really didn't see it when Sylph was covering their chest, and if you saw like the bloomers that they were wearing, you might be cooked at this point.
No, for real.
Also,
I think this
no,
also
go ahead. I'm sorry.
this goes to the fact that Rudeus just doesn't know that many girls from his past life either.
Oh yeah,
Because I thought this was painted on thing.
yeah. I guess through all those hentai and anime and visual novels he's been playing, he just couldn't see it. Speaking of, while I didn't see like the light novel version, the manga version of the scene makes it blatantly obvious that Sylph is a girl. Because if you look at the panel to where he meets Sylph, Sylph is just, for lack of a better word, tooted up, and you can see the shorts. Immediately, you clock that's a girl. I don't know how he didn't see that. But anyway, that's besides the point. I think that's it, right? I guess because if we're like still on the Sylph comment, why did they make the point to where oh wow, Sylph is very handsome. They would make a lady who is in the Shotokan heart skip a beat, and when he tells Sylph to like lean forward, and then Sylph does so, and then Rude is like, he would make a guy who was in the Shotokan's heart skip a beat. I'm like, wait, stop. Stop. If you don't understand that joke, it's gonna fly over your head. But once you understand ball, it's like so much deeper. Maybe that's it, right? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's like if you're young and you're watching this, you're like, oh, okay, it's whatever. I understand these jokes. But when you're an adult and you see these comments, you're like, I don't know why they're trying to make these jokes, but I understand the references and I hate that it's funny.
No, that's kind of how it hit with me. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes these episodes make me feel like a LARPer in this anime community because I did not know ball enough to like get what he was saying there.
Jeez, but that is it. That is the end of these three episodes. JD, If you had to give this an initial rating, what would you give it?
Hi, bro. I think I can't be unbiased towards it. I actually really do like it. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
Hmm. Okay. 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 You know what? I am shoot, man. 8.5.
I mean, yeah, right? Like it
Yeah.
has so much potential. You can feel it, right? In the episodes, right?
Yeah.
And like even if you get past the crude humor, that's the worst thing about it. That's literally it. You
True.
can feel
True. It is. It is. It is unfortunately one of those quintessential anime to where if you want to show this to your parents, you can't. But that is it for us, folks. That is our first 3 into the 4 year of Mushoku Tensei. We'll be watching it in its entirety of the first season and the second season. We are gonna be dissecting this down fully. If you like this, let us know in the comments below. Tell us your favorite scenes. Tell us what you think about the first 3 episodes so far. And if you're joining us in the journey, tell us, what y'all think about it so far. Are you putting it down, or do you want to stay with us through this whole entire journey? Because whether or not this train is going to go off the rails and into a ditch, we'll still be in that ditch to the very end. That's an unfortunate commitment
Go
there.
straight down.
Speaking of that analogy, when I was talking to my friend yesterday about it, he told me that something happens halfway through the first season that really like put him off of it, and he had to put it up. I was like, oh, I'm ready.
Oh my god. Thanks for the warning, dog. I'll be ready to have my heart devastated.
But if nothing else, y'all, I hope all of you have a good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I hope your day is just a little bit better than it already is. With that, we'll catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.
Bye, y'all.